how much of it is sufficient to still call it a free market and still get the benefits of it?
Yeah, it's a great point that we speak in absolute terms when we say free market, but it really exists on a continuum.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a faith built into this to some extent where the libertarian or Bitcoiner mindset is just that to be closer to the truth is, and it's more valuable, right? Even if it's messy, if we're saying the market's messy, we want more order and cleanliness by giving more control to these central institutions. No, because that comes with all these inherent deceptions that snowball over time, as we've discussed. So, yep. And that seems to me to be consistent with reality, right? Like no matter what model we make of reality, the map is never the territory. So as things change over time, we have to update the model all the time. It's messy. Right. It's a messy process. If we start,
and that's what the market's doing in real time, right?
Exactly.
It's always reacting in real time to information that changes, and it's always going to change.
Yes. And if we, are arrogant or self-deceptive enough to ignore that and say, no, my map's good, and you just keep waiting and keep playing by that same map, you get into the situation we're in today.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's absolutely right. But I think that you need to take the other side of it and appreciate the fact that even the best approach, the free market approach, which is essentially decentralized big data kind of thing, right? Because that's, the free market captures as much as information as possible. Mm-hmm. But even that approach is prone to error. Mm-hmm. There's something, maybe it's just humanity. We are no angels and we never will be. So there's got to be some way to at least recognize, as well as maybe do something about the potential for these errors to get out of hand, realizing they're going to be a part of the system to begin with. I don't think there is a fully self-regulating system, because to me, it's almost like, a perpetual motion machine. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some sort of corrective. And I hate to use that word too, because it's, because then it's corrective means somebody stands outside and tells what's right and wrong, which is the exact opposite of what we're talking about. But maybe that's the wrong word. But you know what I'm saying? There has to be some way of introducing some form of regulatory feature that keeps the free market within certain boundaries.
Right.
Which, again, recognizing that these terms are leading to all sorts of bad, potential for abuse, because if we're allowing somebody to define boundaries, they're going to define boundaries in arbitrary ways, which is kind of the opposite of what we're trying to do here. But I think, again, the overall point is free market is more free market better, but it's not perfect.
Yeah. So I hear your point loud and clear. There needs to be something to push against or something to impose accountability. And I'm not saying this has to be a person, even like gold was a regulator historically, right? Nobody could produce more of it. It kept us bound, kept the free market bound to some extent. But it does seem like, I guess there's another big point here for me that, because to your point, we can't get these counterfactuals. So empiricism is not very useful in economics to a large extent. So the fact that the Austrian business cycle theory is rooted in rationalism versus empiricism, I think this is a very underappreciated aspect, where if a central banker took the Austrian business cycle theory seriously, I mean, they would disband tomorrow, right? It's like they're driving the business cycle. So I don't know. I mean, it's almost as if the free market in this pure ideological sense we're saying it in was just never possible. Is never possible.
It may not be. It just may not be, right? Yeah. It's it's too idyllic.
But we can get closer to it, right? The more we
should try to.
Yes.
I think that's really the thing here, is not that we should get closer, but we should attempt to be as close as possible to it, because we both agree that, just from an information standpoint, free market is the best form of information gathering and sorting and assigning and interpreting. Because the closer you get to statism, the closer you get to just essentially big errors, because if the one person's making all the decision, they don't make the right decision, the whole thing falls apart.
It's all errors. Yeah.
Yeah. The widest pyramid, or the best pyramids, are the ones that are widest at the bottom for a reason. I mean, that's just, I think that's intuitive sense.